vibration as far as vibrations go and messages. You know, the roses, the rose symbol, visually getting rose symbols. Anything around roses is very, very angelic, very ascended.
I keep hearing Mother Mary.
Yep. So you said here.
Yeah.
Right now? So, good. Yes. I was actually going to say that a little while ago. That wasn't me you were hearing, but you were hearing it. So, yeah. She is known to smell of the essence of roses. Yep, when she's around. Clairtangency, feeling. Not feeling, but touching things and getting messages. Oh. I call that, I don't usually hear it called like that. I call it, not hold on one second. I just want to get this right. I call it psychometry. So, psychometry is when you touch something and you read it. So you touch it and you get the vibrational frequencies and information from that thing, right? Like, and this is something that we will also do. We'll bring stuff in and we'll all read it from each other, and then we'll go, oh my gosh, I saw things, I heard things, I know. So like if you touch, I mean, really, if you touch anything, you're absorbing this stuff, but like, if you had a trinket, like I would read it, I would hold it, and I would absorb the information that it sends to me. And some people are really sensitive to that stuff. And I can read it pretty dang well when I say I want to read it pretty darn well. Some people can't even touch like another person without like getting overwhelmed with information, feelings or thoughts or visions, or some people have it to that degree. So that's, I think, why they make it a separate category. But it's a very real thing, and I would practice that. Part of the schooling is practicing these different techniques on reading and receiving information. So if you, anywhere you go, so again, we're always emitting stuff. I could go sit in the chair after you, and you will have left somewhat of a, let's call it a cloud of energy of different colors, and in those particles of energy of different colors is a ton of information. It's information on how you're feeling now, maybe perhaps your whole history, but that's really what your aura is, right? So you're leaving part of it, and it would probably be more like the highest charged things emotionally would be pertinent there. So like when I read keys. Keys. Those are really good things to practice reading. In fact, we'll do that. We'll read each other's keys.
House keys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're constantly touching them, so you're constantly charging your life story and your emotions in your beliefs and you're constantly charging those keys. So it's one of the things that gives off the most.
That's incredible.
Yeah, you'd be amazed.
There's an amazing attachment to that. I can imagine cell phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except the cell phones have their own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they have their own life.
That Tyler Perry, when people see him, they always bring items to him, and that's how he starts. They don't tell him what the item is from or anything, but he'll start with just, they'll bring two or three things, and he'll say, what do you want me to start with? And they'll hand him one, and then he'll hold it and touch it, and then that's how he starts. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. So there'll be that will do a certain vibration of information, and then you kind of that will become, you expand it, and that kind of becomes the doorway. for these
Hmm.
messages.
Hmm.
So there's one thing to it being there, but then there's one thing to consciously go into that energy, and it opens up the doorway. Could be good, and it could be not so good. Sometimes, sometimes we consciously go into stuff that it's not real beneficial. We open up the doorway to more stuff like that would live on that vibration.
Can we take a 2-minute break?
Yeah.
Where's the restroom?
Yeah. Like you're gonna go out the door to go home, but make a left.
Okay.
Or you can just go outside and
No.
Our neighbors might.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I saw that one.
I'm gonna go put this on here.
I didn't even think of feeling, when you're talking about feeling, as feeling and touching, actually holding an object. I was just thinking of feeling as in just getting a vibration in the gut.
Yeah. Well, that.
Is that still
Mm,
touching?
no,
I mean,
I
that's
have it
not-
as clair. That's what I was trying to say. Is I have it as clairtangency.
I think
They
that
call it clairtangency. I've never heard
tangency with a T?
because it's tangible.
Oh.
I've never heard it. I call it psychometry,
Okay.
and that's the action or the touching of stuff and receiving the information.
Is the psychometry.
Yeah. I guess it's interchangeable, those words.
Got it.
But keeping in the spirit of clair,
Right.
clairtangency is,
There's a website
Psychometry.
called Claire Vision, which I was turned on to 3 years ago before I met you. When I think I told you the experience I had was seeing a vision with trumpets, hearing trumpets, and December 23rd, 2015. And I called my buddy, who I didn't know who to talk to, who to call, like what just happened. I waited a couple of days, and those feelings, the residual feelings were still like I was still in that experience, right? So I called him, slightly freaked out, like I have no idea what's going on. So after talking, he directed me towards Claire Vision. It turned out a website.
just a website,
Website about the Atlanteans and communicating with the Atlanteans and all this stuff that just started triggering more stuff. And from there, because that was 2015, 2015, because you remember the Azoth reading.
Yeah.
That's where I got that from, is I made that connection with the Atlanteans that led me down this another rabbit hole. And when I came out of the other side, I was like suddenly okay with what happened. Like, oh, it's just normal.
Yeah. Somewhere along this journey, that's going to be normal. Yep.
But up until then, I'd never heard of Claire Vision.
Clairvision, from my
Clairvoyance.
understanding, is a name of a website, but clairvoyance is the clear seeing, right?
Right.
Clear vision. There's big distinctions too as we develop our reading skills and our communication skills. There is a clear distinction, like I said at the beginning, between where you're reading from. Are you reading from what chakra you're reading from? Almost like if you were a little person and you read from your knowing, or you read from dropped into your emotions, and there's a big difference, and that's why I want to make this distinction.
Fear-based versus...
Or reading from a dimension that is your higher self, attached from the body senses. You're really seeing clear, very clear, right? And it's a muscle, and to be able to feel that distinction. But it's very important as we go further and further down this path. It's very important.
Interesting.
2 days ago, I had my first 360-degree glimpse. Like, it was interesting because I go into my meditation, and I've been formally trained in several different ways, but in one practice where I go and I raise the Kundalini and I and I'm doing this exercise, I operate from that. But this, for the first time, usually I bring the point of light out here and I'm meditating from this space where I am the point of light. But in this time the point of light went inside and I was inside 360 degrees looking out
Yeah.
from thinking that, oh, this is my third eye, I'm looking out this way, but it's not. That's just the human perception. The fact of the matter is, it's really a 360 degree
Yeah,
eye.
from within. Yeah, from within.
Right, and that was the first time, like, I really think I really experienced
Right.
the experience.
Yep. 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 Well, that'll be part of the reading. And as we continue, I'll have some videos too. Like after we do some of the seeing drills and feeling drills and get those distinctions and kind of work those muscles. I'll have videos that will help you to practice those things. And it's not practicing to be able to say, oh, I can do this. It's because it's part of your spiritual development in your process of, my goal is to help awaken those things, help you familiarize yourself with your spirit language and how does spirit communicate with you, and then embody that on stage when you're out there with the athletes. It's a very aware place to be, and you can get so much information that can turn around and help everybody that much more. So they're tools, they're muscles that my ultimate goal is you turn around and bring them into the world. You bring them into your everyday life, into your actions, your awareness, your thoughts, your feelings. I mean, when I go through the grocery store, I hear people thinking, I feel people, these things that we're talking about, and I don't take it, does not take anything for me to say, I need an angel to go to that person and give them grace. I need an angel to go to that person and give them love, give that person forgiveness, the feeling, wash them with forgiveness, wash them with. It doesn't take anything for me to do that, because what else are you going to be using? Like, otherwise a difference going to be going through, because we're always processing something in our minds, right, or in our body. So why not some of that stuff? Why not helping ourselves and helping other people along the way, but still staying on our path? Let's talk about a couple of the just general terms. So medium. A medium. So somebody's website might say, hey, I'm a medium. What does that mean? Well, a medium means what they're trying to say is, I specialize in communicating with spirits that have crossed over. That's what they're saying. Now, again, what form do they receive the communication in? Nobody will probably know, unless you went and you said, hey, do you get things in pictures, or do you get things in thoughts, or do you get things in feelings? Right? So a medium, the active mediumship is being a medium between the spirit worlds, so communicating. Now, I don't advertise that I'm a medium. I absolutely communicate with spirits who have crossed over. What do I call myself? I can't list every single attribute that I have, right? So I guess I say this because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of people that say different things. Now you're a little bit more informed of, what might be actually going on. What is the process?
So the distinction between medium and channel?
Good question. Channel, a channeling and channel. Okay. Channeling is you give permission or don't give permission on a particular conscious level. Sometimes consciously. Anyways, I won't go there. Channeling is when you literally give your vehicle over to another being to use. So another being will literally embody your body and speak through you. So they'll use your physical voice cords in your physical mouth. For channelers or for people channeling, when that happens, so it's not that they're getting information. So first of all, I need to make this very clear. I will not allow that. I won't allow that. Angels or ascended masters or other spirits may communicate with me like you can communicate with me, and I can turn around and communicate that message and pass that on. That's great. But channeling is literally you using my vessel and using my vehicle to speak through. Oftentimes channelers won't remember what they said, and for me, watching channelers, I can watch the spirit pop in and out, and I can see the eyes change. I can hear the voice tone change. So,
It's like Romka. She lives in
Yeah.
yeah. Some people believe she is, and some people don't. But I assume she is.
Abraham Hicks.
yep, Abraham Hicks.
Oh yeah.
They're the.
The Wayne
The
Dyer.
most loved, Wayne Dyer?
Well, Wayne Dyer had a whole dialogue with her, and he's kind of a spiritual leader. Rusty knows.
Yeah.
He, I don't think he's a channeler, but I get what you're saying. Right? He would.
He would ask her questions, and she
Right.
would answer them as.
And it would come through her mouth.
Yeah, through her mouth, and her voice actually changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna leave that. Well, we go ahead and ask questions about that.
I was going to ask a question about that as much as a cooperative.
So cooperative letting.
Like say for example, you said channeling would basically say for example, I stepped aside and another entity then speaks through me, right? Okay, but what if there's a cooperative where it's a shared situation? I often feel like I have a lot of angelic help when I come to like writing or something. Like I'm having a conference meeting in my head. Like I'm not the only one that's participating. Like this is actually a group effort right now.
Yeah.
And as I'm writing, other people are telling me what to write. I'm the one actually
They're telling you, but they're not.
or I'm the one actually doing the writing and the typing.
Big difference.
So I'm doing the editing.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I like as I'm writing, I'll say, don't edit, just keep writing. Like
Yeah.
stop editing, just write.
Well, there's like what's that called? Channeled writing, right? Where you're not supposed to block yourself, so you're just supposed to write whatever, and then messages
Free
come
flow,
through.
yeah,
Yeah, free writing, and just. So I think there's artistic ways of channeling the inspiration. I think that's very healthy. I think that's very natural.
It doesn't
It's
necessarily
a
make
part-
you a channel though.
Yes. Channel, correct. Yep. Because I also get that inspiration, or kind of when you're in that sweet spot of being motivated and visions are coming through or knowings are coming through, you just got to write it down. But that's a big difference between another spirit popping in and
Taking over.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
being in flow.
Yep, that's being in flow. Yeah.
Being a what?
In
In
flow.
flow.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I will though have moments where I've zoned out.
Yeah.
Like I will be speaking and then I'll come back and I will not remember what I just said. Like
Yeah.
I know I was present listening to myself speak,
Yeah.
but not knowing what I was going to say next.
Yeah. Yeah. And that I would say that's more being in flow.
That's not channeling, Kate.
Right.
That makes sense now. Now I see the distinction.
Yeah, a person, let me read this to you. A person who allows his or her body and mind to be used as a mechanism for etheric world intelligence to bring psychic information or healing energies to others.
That's the formal definition
That's
of
a
a
channel.
channel. Okay.
Channeling, to allow etheric world intelligence to enter one's mind and impress thoughts upon consciousness, to be spoken out loud using voice or body to deliver the information or healing energy. Again, I can see energetically the difference between being informed versus being replaced.
Got it.
I think that's the clearest way to say it.
Yeah.
Being informed versus being replaced.
What
And,
if I feel like there's sometimes a newer version of me installed?
Yeah, it's your higher self.
Okay. Now sometimes I feel like, oh wow, I feel like I just leveled up somehow, and I know I'm
Metamorphosis, I call it metamorphosis.
metamorphosis. Okay.
Yeah, it's your higher self. It's you opening up more. It's you shedding old stuff. It's you stepping into your
Evolving.
new. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And definitely it's going to be like that, leveling up. It's going to go in spurts. Receiving, processing, integrating, go.
Right.
Bring it forward to the planet, into your body, into your world. Receiving, integrating, go. You know, it cycles just like spring, summer, winter, fall. That cycle. Aura, let's talk about auras. So aura, the energy that surrounds us all is called an aura. Everybody gives off their own energy field that extends out from their body. This usually has a particular color, shape, many different colors and shapes. And psychics or readers or seers have the ability to see the aura, but reading it and interpreting it is different. So some people can see it, but not necessarily know how to interpret the meanings. Now, my experience of the auras and the aura reading are, again, we hold, we're all energy, so we're all kind of light particles, and the denser part of us are denser, more light particles, and they all hold information on where we've been, how we've evolved, our past lives. I mean, we store this all in our aura, in our energetic field. There are some things, so we have different components, like there's different parts to a car. There's the tires, there's the gear shifters, there's the seat, there's the steering wheel, there's the gas pedal, just like our body has different components. The energetic field, you know, we have our mental body that kind of fits this physical shape. We have an emotional body that shares the same real estate, but it's its own distinct thing. We have our astral or etheric body that has its own gig, but shares this real estate. So
What is
all,
that?
our astral body
Mhm.
is our body, is a layer of ourselves, or our energetic body that will go out at night or when you're napping or kind of when you zone off. So, it goes out and gets information from different realms that you're consciously not aware of or actively participating in. But you,
Does it always gets information?
it experiences stuff. It goes out and sees and experiences, communicates, learns, goes to schools. We'll go oversee somebody. You could go in your astral body and participate with somebody, watch somebody sleep. I mean, well,
So you could be giving information to.
oh yeah, teach. Yep, yeah. Getting experience. Yep, I teach classes at night and in the astral planes.
I golf.
I ride dolphins. No, but
I do all my exercise then.
I catch up and binge watch TV.
But the point is yeah, that'd be good. The point is we bring that data back from all of those different bodies, and it's here. It's within our space, and the energy fields around us represent a lot of information. So the auric field would be different colors around. Now I see it about an egg shape that goes about this big around everybody, and
Rainbow?
it's
Sparkles?
yep, muddy, mucky sometimes. Sometimes there's things mucked up in the thing that you know that we get rid of that. We get rid of that leech or that octopus. No, there's like stuff, but there's a whole ecosystem going on there. But the colors, so it's colors because light is colors because we are energy and energy is light, and then all of our information of our whole selves are stored in our auric field. When we go and that's why when we handle our keys, we put in the charge of who we are and what we're experiencing and our emotions into those things everywhere we go. That's why some somebody's house feels different than another person's house. You know, the vibe, it's because it's what are they emitting? What is their story? What is their story this lifetime been? What is their story across all of their lifetimes been? What is their, all of their experience of their existence of
It's wrapped up in a single key?
is wrapped up in the aura,
Oh.
right? And the aura is definitely,
So the aura lasts lifetime? It's the energetic part of our being.
Yeah. yeah,
So that's like our signature. I wanted to say like our heat signature.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So lifetimes, residual, would all be,
yeah. So
Got
our
it.
emotional stored in our, our
Oh, I didn't
emotional
realize that.
experiences throughout lifetimes, our mind or wisdom experiences throughout lifetimes, stored in certain vibrations.
so
of
you
those
can tell
experiences.
someone's a young being, new
Yeah.
or old, wise, old
Yeah.
souls.
By
Okay.
reading it. Now, again, now
Like the
seeing it is different than interpreting it, right?
Okay.
So those different, you
Just
just
seeing it doesn't mean you know what it is. or
exactly,
means. Okay.
exactly.
I think it's more, rather than a heat signature, I think it's a frequency signature.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, that makes more sense to me
Mm-hmm.
from that
Right, right,
aspect.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it's-
As a vibration.
Yeah, it's the vibration, yeah. It's our
And that's why we
vibrational
see
frequency.
colors.
Sure.
That's why we see colors.
There you go.
That's why there's different colors around the aura. That's why there's different color chakras, is because they're different vibrations, just like different. You can measure the vibration of lights, right, and energy and particular colors of lights. They have it's a very scientific color frequency. So those same things would show up in your aura as colors at particular frequencies. Yeah. So it is actually very scientific. I mean, it's very, it is very scientific. It's just not a known science.
Right.
That they allow. I mean, if we would just naturally let ourselves, I think in society and in school, if they wouldn't teach us to shut some of these things down, or if they would just allow us to be these things naturally and speak in these languages, it would just flourish. It's who we are naturally, but I think from a young age it's kind of shut down. So it's more about recalibrating back to who we naturally are as natural spiritual beings in a human body, and how can we coexist and cooperate, not just cooperate, but cooperate with each other, right? Because we're our own sovereign beings with our own spirit story, with our own experiences everywhere, but then we're also all connected. But how can we keep those? How can we appreciate your experience, have universal love, and still work on our own evolution? Really.
How about threads? Threads. You see threads?
Oh, yeah.
Connecting, like spider web threads, like this one's.
Yep.
Okay.
It's cords.
Cords might be okay.
Cords. It's more like umbilical cords. It looks like umbilical cords. Umbilical cords, energetically, and umbilical cords might go from if I have a heart connection with somebody or something, I might have a cord that goes to them.
Got it.
Now,
I call them threads, but
yeah,
Okay.
it looks like an umbilical cord to me.
okay.
And, yeah.
Can you see colors of the cords too? Can you tell like someone's in love with someone? Like.
I can tell by where it's connected. Me personally, I can
Okay.
tell by where it's connected. Is it connected to the power center? Is it connected to the heart? Is it connected to the sexual organs? Are they getting that energy, right? Because those are the chakras that represent those things. That's how I tell. That's how I read it, and that's how I see it.
So the base connection, is it a higher level connection? What connection of the, different dimensions?
Now, I have to say, this may or may not make sense, or you just let it fall where it may, and then you experience it as you develop. But the cord I cord you, I'm taking something directly from your life force.
Right.
And I should really be getting everything from there. Like, you can inform me and you can encourage me to open up more to love and all these things. But for me to take your life force is a little
And I'm aware
A
of
little
that.
what?
not cool.
Right, but this is what I've learned over the last, I would say, that I'm aware of that. And part of me is like, okay, I'll let you plug into me for right now because you have no energy, but that's okay because I'm plugged into the source. I'm plugged into the source, and eventually I'm going to empower you to plug in the source for you so you won't need me anymore.
You could just plug them right into source.
Okay. Got it.
Source
But sometimes I feel like I
source
got
is
to plug
better
in.
energy than all of us.
My experience is that some people are resistant to the source, and that they can only come through the source through me, and then they don't know that they're connected to the source after I'm gone. They still think they're connected to me, but there's no connection whatsoever.
Yeah, that's just a little bit of spirit work and talking to their higher selves and some of their life lessons and stuff.
But
like
some of
that.
the people I've helped were, I'm talking drunks and
Yep.
addicts that have no life force whatsoever.
Understood.
And so part of me has to feed them energy almost like a baby bottle,
Yeah.
right? And I started a recovery center about 10 years ago one time where I was just in the trenches, let's just say. And I got to a point where I was depleting my own energy. I was wearing myself
Exactly.
out. And I got to a point where I'm trying to be the source, and that's a temporary solution.
Yeah.
That doesn't empower them.
No.
They
Yeah.
need a connection of their own.
So one of a way that you could think about it is we get power and energy from the sun's rays, from the sun's emanation. The sun gives us power, and we seed up and sprout up to our potential, right? Just like a tree. The sun doesn't tell the tree what to do. The sun gives the tree power. But I am not actually going and taking a part of the sun. I'm not going into the mechanics of the sun and siphoning, right?
Okay.
I'm letting it be. I'm letting it
You're
be.
reflecting the sun.
I'm letting it be rays on me. If you could be a sunshine in the room for people around you, then they drink your overflow.
Right,
You're full,
right.
and they drink your emanation of vibrations of joy and blah, 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 and they'll learn to match. And you can't always fix it. And that's another thing that healers or empaths or blah, blah, blah kind of get into that cycle of trying, and they give themselves away instead of
And they get
lend a
drained.
helping hand of motivation. They'll actually break off their hand and give it, and then you don't have a hand, right? And it's a big thing that healers and empaths and helpers fall into, and that's fine. It's a life experience that I think all of them need to learn. All of us
Right.
need to learn, but it's not the appropriate energetic.
What I've learned is that then that becomes a very unhealthy codependency,
Yeah.
and I'm getting nothing but a ego charge,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and that and which is defeating the whole purpose of the connection anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's been a learning curve because one, I've gotten sick from it.
Yeah.
I've gotten burned out and crashed and then got to a point where 180 degrees, screw everybody, I'm taking care of myself, right? And then got to a point, okay, now I'm able to a point where I can just disperse it, where I'm not just getting sucked dry.
Yeah. And you're not the only one that experiences that. And we just aren't taught the appropriate tools, the appropriate energy manners.
Yeah. Some people are just a dry sponge, and suddenly, boom, they soaked all my energy, and they're gone, skipping down the road, happy as a clam, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
But it doesn't last. It doesn't last
right.
for them. It only lasts when you're connected to the flow from your
Short-lived.
source. Yeah. It just doesn't last. and
This is a
it's not healthy
fluoride.
for you, but you're learning, and so will everybody, you know, we'll talk about that, but the energy cords, yep, I could see them that's usually one of the first things in a healing, in an aura reading and healing session, I go through and I disconnect the energy cords, and I say, I can feel that one's from your daughter, she's looking to you for strength, I'll plug her back up to source. Because it's draining you. It's not the right. It doesn't mean you separate your
Are
relationship.
you saying that to me?
No,
Oh, I'm like,
no. It doesn't mean you're separating the relationship, and that's what a lot of people freak out about. Is you're separating the relationship? Ah, no, but it's the energetic.
Right, the detachment is that they're perfectly capable of connecting themselves.
Yeah.
Just hold them capable.
Yeah. Show them. You be the
Yeah.
example.
you just have to learn.
Yep. Yeah, but you be the example. But are there any other like terms or are there any other like terms that are thrown around maybe in the energy world or psychic world, or it's all the same thing, but are there any other terms that maybe you want to clarify? Oh, psychic surgery. I just picked this up from like psychic surgery. Okay. Divination is the ability to see into the future or find knowledge through using rituals and reading signs. Most divination rituals are old traditions that people have been using for many years, like reading tea leaves or coffee grounds or stuff like that.
Entrails.
It's real. People do that, just like people read tarot cards, or but people read teas or people read rocks, and so it's a combination of seeing and knowing and seeing the patterns and learning what that spirit language is. It's funny when this said seeing signs. It's like I see signs all the time. One of the ways spirit communicates with me is literally with signs and road signs and car signs and license plates. There's words on license plates. I will not leave the house once without seeing the word ask on the license plate. I'm like, how many license plates in Washington? All the Washington, you're like, what percentage, I wonder, start with the word ask? But I see the word ask all the time. I'll see somebody's name.
And some people see numbers.
Yep, I
angel
see
numbers.
Yep, I see numbers all the time too. Like I see numbers all the time. But so I was like, oh, like to me that's just communication. But in spirit terminology or the world terminology, that could be like divination or whatever.
Has anybody here heard of the Center of Spiritual Living?
I have, I go
It's
to
in
there.
Bellingham, right?
Well, there's one in Seattle,
There's one in Seattle.
yeah. And in the university district, kind of.
Okay.
You know where university,
The only Center of Spiritual Living I've heard of is in Bellingham, and there's a James Bacolis, very close friend, Bob Trask, who's the minister of that spiritual center. And he's written several books. I had him on my radio show years ago. I've talked to him once. I haven't talked to him since then, 2 years ago, right? James was telling me how he's gotten back into communication with Bob Trask, and I went, good for you. He's a great mentor for him, right? So, today, driving here, on the way, stoplight, stop, look, license plate. Same thing, message, see it, got my camera, zoomed in, took a picture, license plate frame, Center of Spiritual Living.
Yeah.
I'm on my way here. I haven't even had this discussion. I'm like going, the only Center of Spirit, like, suddenly I got the feeling of knowing I'm in the right place at the right time. Confirmation, like what kind of coincidence is that?
None.
Right?
No coincidence, right?
Clear message.
Yeah. Yeah. I get when I used to work in Bellevue, I used to get trucks with angels, guardian angel, roofing guard. I mean, they would have a truck, like trucks, massive trucks would come and escort me to work, right? And especially if I asked for it. And then I also get vans these vans that say on track, and they come in front of me all the time, especially if I'm thinking a thought that has to do with my path, like what am I supposed to be bringing into the world, and then I'll see a van go, or it'll come up to me and it'll ride next to me until I see it, and then it'll leave. But
That's awesome.
I don't really know what that
You're on
is. But
track.
yeah, and then psychic surgery. I don't know if you've heard of psychic surgery, but I mean, healers do some healers know how to do psychic surgery. I've done psychic surgery a few times, and it's literally like my experience is, and I didn't know how I knew how to do it. Obviously, in another life or another something, I knew how to do it, so I just knew how to do it here. Literally, from a distance, I can see somebody's body, and I can go and I can see the bones, I can see the blood vessels, I can see the nervous system, whatever, and then I will know how to cut things out, redo, it's a psychic surgery that energetically actually takes place.
You said right before you started talking about psychic surgery, you had the word implants. I mean, this really is the human experience, man.
It is, and it's important that everybody kind of shares too these different experiences, because we can all learn.
And there's nothing that I was taught. I don't hang around with crowds like this. I mean, I hang out with healthy, positive crowds, but I'm saying when I grew up, I was like the crazy one. You know what I mean? Like you just didn't discuss this with people. You didn't tell people because they looked at me cross-eyed. So I learned to just keep it in and process it, and maybe I am crazy. Maybe I am. Like there was no sanity scale. Like, what do I base this on?
Right. Explaining it right. That's why that's why I'm so passionate about teaching these things, about talking about these things. Because I think a lot of people are running around thinking they're crazy or depressed or these different things, and it's just because they're not understood, and they don't understand themselves. They're not understood. They're not seen and understood, because we haven't been given the language to see and understand people, right? How many people didn't see and understand you, and then how did that impact you? And then you don't understand yourself, so that's just makes you crazy too. So a lot of these things, I just want to help people be able to really see and know themselves, and then get back to loving themselves, right? And then the rest kind of falls away, because this is so beautiful, your connection with Source and your life stream and your divine plan and purpose here is so pure in itself, and it's so beautiful if we just let all the rest of the crap fall. It's like, I want you to understand yourself and the natural abilities that you have as spirit to navigate this crazy world. But you get to use it, you get to apply it here. To apply it, so those are experiences and opportunities that not all spirits have, which is another reason channelers and channels and beings and stuff, they want, not everybody gets access to the earth experience and access to human bodies. We're very blessed.
And so I'm afraid, to do that they might not give it back up. Hey, this is one in a million chance here, man.
There's a lot of invasion.
Right?
There's a lot of invasion, and there's a lot of taking over, and there's a lot of, and a lot of times people don't care because they're in so much pain, and they're so misunderstood. So that's really why it's so important to me. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching. But
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm just overwhelmed.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay.
Overwhelmed with gratitude.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you. I have a deep very deep appreciation and admiration, and like I said last time, I'm in. If you guys show up, I'm in, because it's that important. It's that important to me that we discuss these things, that we learn what our communication is with ourself, with higher self, with spirit, with re-embodying our divinity. Really, it's not outside of us, but we need to step into it and embody it and So I'm here with you guys, I'm here for you guys, and we're gonna cover a lot of topics on them. My goal is to, oh no, I was talking to Russ about this yesterday. My goal is to cover a lot of different topics, high level, like this I would say is high level, right? And then as we go along, if there's one like protection or one like dreams that we want to go deeper into, instead of waiting the whole month, I was thinking those that want to go deeper, we can meet again in between, like we can agree, like for example, let's say we talked about dreams tonight, let's just say, at a high level, but two of us want to go a lot deeper, like we could set up
Yeah, I want to know more about dreams right now. Like, I got questions.
like 2 weeks, we could decide like, okay, 2 weeks from now on a Sunday, we'll take 4 hours together and we'll go deep. And I'll teach that and we'll go deep. But it's not appropriate to go that deep at each. It can't, it will overwhelm people. Right now, you guys are gonna have a lot to process and integrate energetically. Drink a lot of water, please. Some vitamin C, I'm getting some, especially orange, lemon, I don't know if you like it, but you're going to integrate a lot and you're shifting a lot. Before we leave tonight, if you agree or if you want to, you can consciously, because it's your being and your sovereign being, agree to release any old stuff that doesn't serve you anymore, you've outgrown, right? You want to level up, you want to any of that stuff that you've outgrown that you're not going to use, you don't need to keep it here in the background, or you don't need to keep it and keep charging it along with you. Just let it go. Let it go back to earth, to the heart of earth, and be replenished and refilled with golden light, like liquid gold, like you're going to drink it in, but fill all the way up. And then fill up all the layers of your aura, kind of like a chocolate fountain, going up, filling up all
chocolate
of your aura.
fountain.
Yeah, but gold chocolate.
Yeah.
Let it go back down to Mother Earth, so it's a circuit. So you're being replenished, rinsed,
Speaking in
cleansed,
metaphors.
rebalanced, re-energized. We're leveling up.